Sharon George. She's a senior lecturer at Keele University. Hi there, Sharon. Thank you for coming onto the show. How concerned are you by the information that is coming out from Copernicus, and how concerned should we be?
It is very concerning. We've been listening to predictions that temperatures are going to be on the rise, and we've all heard the warnings, and we know that we need to cap CO2 emissions, and that will help us keep the limits of climate change within certain checks. But what we're seeing, these records that we're seeing broken year after year, and we know that these records have been becoming faster and more frequently. Events like we've just seen in Canada, that's almost a 5 degrees Celsius jump. That's a massive jump in terms of a record being broken. And what we're not seeing these temperatures going up slowly. We are now seeing these things happening more and more frequently. And this is going to impact us around the world as these systems are interrelated, and we're in uncharted territory now. So we're now past the point of preventing climate change. Now we're having to deal with it, maybe limit as bad as it gets, but now we're using language like climate change resilience, and we just need to cope now and ride through the effects of these events.
When we look at the continent of North America specifically, the immediate impact of these higher temperatures, what are they? I mean, for people living there, it's obviously you are just getting hotter, earlier maybe in the summer season, but on the environment, what is the impact that it's having?
Well, the impacts can be really complex, because it's not just the effect of the temperature that we feel or maybe the rainfall that day, it's patterns over time. And these can do things like affect growing seasons, and sometimes the effects can be quite subtle. So the effects, for instance, on biodiversity can be enormous, because things rely on established patterns, and the order that nature responds to the environment happens in a certain order to support food webs. And those systems, we're seeing crashes in biodiversity at a rate that we've never seen before. We're seeing rises in temperature that are driving drought that we've never seen before. That's changing the land. We're seeing rises in sea levels that are driving more flooding that we've never seen on the level that we're seeing before. And this is changing the land. So this is going to impact us in terms of being able to provide things like water, grow food. This is going to impact us globally in ways that are directly related to the way that we're using energy now.
Are we going to see this now? I mean, is this something that we will see in the next few months, in the next few years? How immediate is it?
Well, this is something that we're already experiencing right now. We're seeing it in different levels around the world. We're already seeing climate change refugees, people who are having to move because their land has changed and their livelihood has been affected. So we're seeing people driven to mega cities that are already stretched for resources. So we're already seeing human migration as a result of these changes. But we're also seeing on a local level things. It's very difficult to attribute one event to climate change, but what we're seeing is that gradual trend where we're seeing more and more flooding, we're seeing more and more fires. So, and this is pushing, this is being seen all around the world now, and it's only going in one direction.
So earlier you mentioned the term climate resilience. I'd just like you to expand, if you can, on that. What is it, and what do we need to do now?
Yeah, so climate change resilience is about knowing and trying to predict what the impacts are going to be of climate change where we are right now. So this is going to be felt differently depending on where we are around the planet. So, for instance, in the UK, we're seeing more flooding, we're seeing more drought in the summer. So the risk of wildfires has increased. So this may well change the way that we manage that land. It may affect on an economic level where we put resource into managing that land and managing that risk. So climate change resilience is about managing that risk and that preparedness for to be able to manage that risk for people. So, for instance, if you're in a place that is liable to flooding, it may well be that in some places we're putting resources into lowering the harm that can be felt by people, and putting systems in place to support people if their livelihoods do change.
Sharon George, fantastic to speak to you about what is becoming a worse and worse problem for everyone on the planet. Thank you so much.